passionate about? Are you happy? Are you really happy? Do you trust your own instinct? What is your perception of God? Are you the best version of yourself? This is Conversations We Never Had, hosted by Wendy. What matters to you the most?
What matters to me the most is my family. I think it's not even I need to think about there's certain things. No, it's straight up my family, the people that I love. Very important to me.
I want to know about your childhood. What kind of experience, what kind of memories do you hold very close to you that happened in your childhood?
So I grew up in a village called Palape in Botswana, and I had a very simple upbringing, playing with bicycles, even things like chasing goats, like really, really simple. And I went to a small school, only 160 kids, like that small. So we lived in a very small community, and what I valued the most was definitely the sense of community. And I think that's something that I've tried to find since moving to South Africa, but we live where you don't know your neighbors, things like that. And so the sense of community that we had growing up, the fact that it was so free for kids to run around, I don't know if that's something you can find at this day and age really, but that's what I miss from my childhood.
And growing up, what kind of experiences or maybe painful emotional experiences have you gone through?
When I was in grade 4, we had a really great family holiday with my cousins who were very, very close to my cousins. They were like siblings to us. And at the end of that holiday, when my parents took my cousins back, my cousin passed away in a car accident. And the car was new, it was like 15 days old. And then she lost her life. She was in matric. And she was, that shining star in your family. She was beautiful. She won every beauty pageant. She was an athlete, and she was very smart. She was like the head girl at school. So it was just kind of that thing of there's so much untapped potential. And that realization very young, that people do die young. And also for our family, it was never the same after that because, my uncle was driving, it was my parents' car, and then it was the other uncle's child that passed away. When a child passes away, there's just a lot of tension, and that then broke up the family. So people kind of went their separate ways, and that's even an issue that to date we're still dealing with, because there was a sister who was my age, and she's just like, we can't talk anymore and things like that. So that changed, and that also made me value family more. Which is why I'm also so I like to address issues. If there's issues, let's talk about it so we don't get to that same place where there's two people who are siblings and they don't talk anymore. Sure. Heavy.
Very. What do you think happens when we die?
It's funny, I was speaking to my husband about that this morning. So I've always thought, when you die, you go to this heavenly fun place. And then the last few weeks I've now been dealing with sort of ancestral things. And now I'm like, but if there's ancestors and they're running around fighting and protecting you, that means that you don't go and rest and chill.
You almost work.
So now that's I have questions about that. What do you think?
I think you go back to the oneness. I don't necessarily think that when you die, you're gonna be Rina all the time, throughout until. I don't think that I think Rina is, or Wendy is, the identity that we have here on earth. But once you die, I think that dies, but then your soul goes back to the oneness. When I say oneness, people recognizes that that they identify it in different words, different. I mean, it's different for people. Some call it God, some people call it the higher power. But I do think that we are all gods, and when we do die, we go back to the oneness, and we become part of God, you know.
Yeah.
And so I do think that when you die forever, and Rina, the identity that you had here is no longer there. So I don't necessarily believe in ancestors, because when you do, then it means that I'll always be Wendy, and yeah.
True.
Yeah. Do you believe in reincarnation though? No.
No, I don't.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe the soul lives forever, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm pretty sure if it's just over after this, I'm fine with that. Yeah. I don't know about just dancing around forever. No, I'm good.
Yeah. I want to explore a little bit about what you believe. What do you believe?
I'm now trying to figure that out. Literally, the last week, I've spent a lot of time unpacking my family history, doing a lot of research, asking questions I wasn't asking before. So I don't have an answer for that. I don't know. There's just so many different elements to it. I do definitely believe in like a spiritual realm, and I'm trying to. Things that you've never voiced out loud before, and it almost sounds crazy because you've always been taught there's either this or there's either that. Yeah. So right now I'm just trying to find the balance. I don't know what I believe.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of questions, and unfortunately it's not one of those things that somebody can give you an answer. Yeah. You kind of have to discover for yourself and see what works for you, which is also a part of it that makes me uncomfortable, because I feel like there should be answers for it. But yeah, I was raised Christian, but I've always had an sort of, I don't want to say an issue, but my issue with Christianity is how it's been packaged. So first of all, the whole thing that Jesus is white was just like, I can't, guys. And then also I'm very pro-black, so I'm very conscious of the fact that that religion is something that came with colonialism.
Yes.
So that for me is a conflict. Also, in terms of the thought that you were put on earth and you were given free will, but you must do these certain things and serve me. And then, so I have a lot of questions, and like I said, there's no answers. But I do feel like I need to pray. But when I do pray, because I don't know who or what I'm praying to. I actually I was listening to, it was like, Super Soul Sundays with Oprah. And it was a conversation with Will I Am. And I thought it was very interesting what he spoke about. And I'm going to see how I can explore that. And Oprah asked him, who do you pray to? And he said, I pray to 15-year-old me. And he said, if somebody wasn't guiding me when I was 15 to get here, I wouldn't have been able to get here. So I feel like it was this older me guiding the younger me, and I listen out for 60-year-old me who's guiding me. I thought that was quite interesting.
That is so profound.
So I think with what you believe in, there's just so many options. And also I was looking into Buddhism, and then I just thought, why is that okay? It's just that it's been packaged by Western society to be okay. So then that led me to, I think I really need to find out about ancestors and what's actually African, because it's just about the packaging. So that's why I'm now busy finding out about that, researching, and then I'm gonna make an educated decision, or maybe I'll just practice a few different things that work for me.
What do you think is the purpose of life experience?
I just feel like it's to have fun, hey? Honestly, there's so much beauty in life, and there's so much good in it. And I think everybody does have a purpose, and that there's something that they need to give to the world that will bring joy. But I think we're just here for the ride. I think it's just a fun ride, really.
And how do you make sense of problems when because I mean, if we're here to have fun, then why are we faced with all these problems?
So a lot of people, because I've got lupus, a lot of people get overwhelmed by it, and they like, but there's so much trouble in your life. I'm like, but literally my life is happy. It's this one little thing that's not okay, and it happens to be my health, but to me it's tiny. There's so much other good. So even though there's problems in life, I just feel like there's so much that's just good. And if there's the one thing, which is my health, that I have to deal with for all the good that I have, I'm okay with that.
What has been your biggest loss?
Mine would be the baby I haven't had yet. because I'm facing a lot of challenges around that. And when you talk to doctors, it's almost like it's either your health or a child, but it's almost like it should be simple. And then to hear all those things you have to go to maybe you can have a kid, that for me, it's like, I know the person doesn't exist yet, but I have a name for them, and yeah, so it feels like a loss.
What is your greatest fear?
My greatest fear is losing my husband. Yeah.
And if you were to write a detailed letter to your unborn child, what would you include in that letter?
Funny enough, I was thinking about doing that because I thought it will give me some kind of closure or let go. But actually, I just decided, like, I do speak to my baby and I just say, I'll wait. And if you are coming, you'll come. Yeah.
What is the one thing that you really didn't know growing up, or like throughout your life, that you now know and you're sure of? You're just like, you know what? I've been through this so much of life, and this is what I've got out of life, and I'm sure of.
That there's a spiritual realm. Yeah, I'm very sure of that. I think a lot of things are spiritual, and we've been taught to ignore that. It's in things like the things that you can manifest. I'm very sure of that because there's certain things in my life now that that I've manifested, and also things like, say, with my condition. With my tests, they are very clear. But you can see my body's physically breaking down. So when I go to the doctor, I am what health looks like. So therefore, I know that it's a spiritual thing, and in that I know that I can find healing through internal work.
And was it difficult for you to accept the journey of your health, how just things have been?
No, I've been very good at it, accepting my condition. I roll with the punches, and so I'm very clear that I'm very strong, because I know people who have very, I would say, tiny conditions compared to what I'm dealing with, and I handle it very well. But in that, then I feel like there is something that I'm supposed to learn from it, because I don't think it's natural to be that strong about something. So clearly, I'm just listening. I'm listening to what it's supposed to teach me.
What are some of the things that you consciously, attracted, and you're like, actually...
Wealth.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of my time manifesting wealth, and I know a lot of people have a hard time saying, I want money and I like money. But money for me is able to give me the things that I like. And the things that I like include spending time with my family. And I don't want to plan something and people say, we can't come because of money. I'll rather say, guys, I've booked. Let's go. All you need to do is take time off. So manifesting wealth is very important to me.
And I would assume that your relationship with money is, or not?
I like to spend money.
What is your purpose?
My purpose is to help people find, I don't want to say to find their purpose, but to find happiness within themselves.
Are you living up to your purpose?
I believe I am living up to my purpose. I feel like there is more that I can do, and I'm trying to figure out how to work on it without stealing from myself, basically.
That's deep, actually.
Okay, so with something like with my purpose, which is healing, there's a lot of energies, because I take on people's energies. There's a lot of that you would take on, and I'm conscious of that. That I need to find a way to do it that at the end of the day I can still be home with my family and still be myself and still be happy.
Okay, now I understand. Do you find it easy to forgive?
Yes, I do. I do find it very easy to forgive, but it's also, like I said, like let's address what the issue is. And I think if somebody does something to you, you know if the person loves you or they don't.
Yeah.
So you're able to know that even if we're fighting because we love each other.
Yeah.
So let's just, if I admit what I did wrong, you admit what you did wrong, and let's move forward and let it go. Yeah.
Your biggest disappointment?
My biggest disappointment is my younger self. Probably that I'm still working on forgiving that person. I was quite the asshole, like when I was young. You know, Facebook has this thing where they have memories.
Yeah.
And even my posts back then, I was horrible. And I'm always like, guys, how did you love me when I was like that?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that for me is even now when I see those things pop up on my Facebook, and I'm like, oh gosh. But I'm learning to forgive myself for that.
Yeah. Is it do you find it difficult to forgive yourself? No. Yeah.
Not lately, but I just think that person was so the opposite of what I stand for now. And I even find her to be extremely selfish and a bully quite a lot, actually. So to think that I was that person that I fight so hard against now, yeah.
Do you find it easy to accept?
I'm very good with acceptance. It comes from Steve Jobs' quote where he says, it's the famous one, you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect the dots looking back. So I always go back and I reflect on things, even the worst times in my life where I thought, everything is over now, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
And that situation brought me to something else. So even when something comes my way, and for me it's not what I wanted, I know that it's connecting to something else and something better. So I'm never in panic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your idea of beauty?
My idea of beauty is a smiling black woman. When somebody says what is beauty, that's what I picture. And I think I have folders and folders of what I have stored as beauty, and that's what it is. It's these beautiful black women, and you can almost see, I feel like you can see a lot in eyes. And there's that glow that you see in eyes. Even if it's hurt, you see it in the eyes, and it's still beautiful. And yeah, I think it's vulnerability as well, I think is beautiful to me.
Yeah. And when do you feel the most beautiful?
In the morning.
In the morning?
Actually, yeah. I think I'm a morning person, so I generally wake up very happy.
Yeah.
And I think that's before something irritates you during the day, or you see a post that you're like, So yeah, the morning, and just when it's just my natural skin, and my lips are kind of big in the morning, so I'm like,
Yeah. What is the one situation or experience that was life-changing for you?
I think my most recent stay in hospital. Okay, so I have two. In 2014, I went to Dublin, and though it was a delegation of people, I went by myself. I only knew myself, and then obviously met other people there. I did not click with the South African people at all. I tried to be friends, but they came from one company, so it was almost like they were a clique, and I wasn't. And then everybody had roommates, and because I was the last person added to this trip, I didn't have a roommate. So I didn't have that person to latch onto the whole week. I was forced to make new friends. I made friends with people from Japan. And I wouldn't normally do that. I'm a very reserved person. It takes me a while to open up. So that forced me to get out of my comfort zone and make friends. I was in another country. I also walked around the city by myself. And even like when I was in Dubai airport, I was by myself, and I could only send out, at the time they were doing, sometimes they do restrictions. And so I wasn't able to WhatsApp at the time. I couldn't Facebook, so I'd go into my email, and then I emailed my mom like, okay, I'm here. But it put me in a place where I was by myself, and then I realized, okay, I can actually do things by myself. And after that, a lot changed when I came back, and even in the way that I ran my business. And then now, a month ago, when I was in hospital, because I was overseas for 2 weeks, and then I was in hospital for 2 to 3 weeks, in and out. So I took a month off of my life, and it was so like insignificant. It was definitely significant to the people close to me, which is what matters. And then it also had me questioning, why do I want it to matter that I was away? Why do I want like it to be a big thing? Because you almost feel like, because it's only your world that will stop, it's not everybody else's. So I just started looking at things differently from there. Yeah.
What does love mean to you?
I don't know what love means. I've never given that any thought, but I know that love feels like warmth. Yeah. For me, it feels like warmth, and that's something that you feel from people, and that's what the energy you send to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you keep your emotions centered?
I'm lucky in that I'm very centered. I think going through everything I went through over the years has made me very self-aware. I do take, like, a lot of the time when we get home, I go into the room and I have like quiet time, or at night before bed I have quiet time, or early in the mornings. I mostly wake up at like 4 a.m. and then only really get out of bed around 7, 8. So in that time I read, I do a lot of, I listen to podcasts, I read a lot of motivational things that keeps me balanced.
Yeah. What is your priority at the moment?
My priority at the moment is to grow my business.
Any regrets in life?
I think my biggest regret is working too hard, because I almost feel like for years I didn't sleep. I worked so hard on my business, and I do know that my health now is based on the choices I made then, and living a high stress life and not stopping when I needed to stop. But at the same time, I know that in my business I wouldn't be where I am now without it. And I am aware that the business feeds a lot of families, because we do pay people's salaries. So it's a regret for myself, but in only once in a while when I feel sorry for myself. But in what came out of it, I'm okay with that.
Do you feel enough?
I do feel enough. Yeah. I'm a lot, so
you're a lot.
even maybe a little more than enough.
Yeah. Sure. It's the end of our interview.
Oh wow.
It is. Thank you so much, Rina, for making time.
Thank you.
For just being an inspirational person online. I think this is actually the first time we meet.
Yeah, first time.
And I've always looked forward to, chatting and just picking your brain a little.
Thank you for the conversation. So, I mean, it wasn't at all what I was expecting.
Really?
But I'm glad I didn't ask before, because I probably would have chickened out. And also it comes at a time where I haven't been doing any interviews consciously. And I was just like, okay, I like Wendy. Let me just do it. Let me do it. And I enjoyed it, and I think it came at the right time, but that's how I think the universe works. Yeah.
No, you're such a light. And you're so, your energy, I can read it like umuntu pants, but I can read your energy. It's so beautiful, very light. You're not a heavy person at all. And I think you're exactly what I expected. Yeah, can we get huggies?
Thank you.
Huggies.
In our souls, they make us who we are. All the pain, the things that bring us down, the darkness and the light that we carry. Conversations we never